Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, we couldn't bring you this broadcast live as promised due to technical issues with the social media, Facebook in particular. But we thought to record it and bring it to you in this format. So please stay tuned, and as I bring you the presentation proper. I want to thank Ground Zero for sitting in there to wait while we try to figure out Facebook. As you watch this program, it has already been broadcast live on Ground Zero. When Facebook is able to take the program live, we should be able to rebroadcast it on Facebook. Fellow Ambazonians, good evening. A press statement bearing a forged letterhead of the interim government is making rounds in the social media platforms. That statement alleges that the interim government, in consultation with a certain ASC and with the restoration forces on Ground Zero, have called for a ceasefire to all self-defense actions. The statement alleges that the interim government took the decision to give the visiting American congressional delegation a safe passage in Ambazonia during their visit. That statement wishes that terrorist forces of French Cameroon currently occupying our territory would do same. That is, declare a ceasefire too. I would like to make a number of disclaimers and bring you some clarity on the issues raised in that statement. Number one, that statement wasn't issued by the interim government. The letterhead is that of the interim government, but it is a forgery. The name and signature on it are those of a man who was sacked from the interim government a fortnight ago. This is very important so you can all be in the lookout for any of such future forgeries. Number two, there is nothing like the ASC still in existence in the interim government. A resolution in Berlin in April at the ASSC dissolved what then was known as the ASC, and in its place, the NSC, National Security Council, was since created. Like in DOD, anything therefore bearing the name of ASC is a fraud and a scam. No Ambazonian should go for it. Anyone still making donations to the ASC should rest assured that this interim government can no longer be held accountable for donations made to the group. The ASC was dissolved for reasons ranging from incompetence to mismanagement, and just like the former DOD, the ASC still wants Ambazonians to believe that it still exists and functioning. It doesn't. The interim government will not sit and watch Ambazonians further exploited by fraudulent and clandestine groups that are just out to enrich themselves. Under the ASC, the interim government dished out sums of members to members who said they used it to procure heavy-duty sticks with a capability to bring down flying birds. As I speak to you today, only those who took the funds know where the sticks are. When the interim government therefore stopped directing funds through them, they pulled the fast one, framed up the interim government with the narrative that my trip to Boya funds were embezzled and mismanaged. Fellow Ambazonians, those funds were never mismanaged. They were simply taken out or taken away from the ASC handling. We want every Ambazonian to know that it was an effort to resolve the fraud and mismanagement that was rampant at the ASC at the time. Today, We want you to know that all restoration forces on ground zero are managed and funded by you, the people, by the different counties and local government areas. The ASC does not have control over any group whatsoever on the ground. Like the DOD that created its own bank accounts, raised and funneled money into it without ever submitting to scrutiny. The ASC, before it was dissolved, was heading towards same direction, touting the idea of creating its own bank accounts that were never going to be within the scrutiny of the interim government. We thought you should know this, because these are the kind of factional behavior they are employing to derail and to sabotage the revolution. Number 3, Ambazonians, especially on ground zero, should try to be very smart going forward. Any press statement or announcement purported to be coming from the interim government that are not coming from the Department of Defense or from the NSA, National Security Council, or from the Office of the Acting President, Dr. Sako, or from yours truly, the Secretary of Communications, should be disregarded or trashed. This applies to the ceasefire statement in question here. I cannot emphasize it enough. This interim government has not declared any ceasefire on ground zero. Our commanders are aware that the interim government hasn't communicated such directives to them. Let it be clear, ladies and gentlemen, the interim government doesn't have to declare any form of ceasefire for the American congressional delegation to have unfettered and safe access to any part of our territory, Ambazonia. We know who they are. The restoration forces know who they are also, and what their mission is, and their security is guaranteed anywhere, everywhere in our territory. And we are doing so without ceasing any fire. At a time when French Cameroon soldiers have intensified forced entry into our families' homes, shot some, raped some, and arrest some, there can be no such thing as a ceasefire. The language of a ceasefire sounds like coming from French Cameroon. It sounds like the language of French Cameroon Disarmament Commission. And those asking for a ceasefire may just be their subcontractors. We are not ceasing fire and laying down a single arm in Ambazonia while French Cameroon terrorist army enter our homes and shoot to kill. Our goal at the moment is to focus on raising immediate cash to put superior equipment into the hands of our restoration defenders. This is what French Cameroon wants, and we are gearing up for it. Le BLM has invented technology that is now being replicated across Ambazonia. Manu 2 is coming up strong with technology, and same replication is being initiated. The good news about these developments is that, unlike before, unlike in the past, no one needs to get out of the territory to acquire anything. The resources are readily found in our own backyards. This is called taking the war to a whole new level. It means winding down the era of den guns. This will go a long way to speed up our strangulation campaign of French Cameroon's economy, since it appears this is what they want, the regime want to see, what they need for a genuine ceasefire. We are ready. Count the IG in. If French Cameroon want to go ahead with its mischievous deeds while the U.S. delegation is in town, let them go ahead. That will indeed be good. It will be such an experiment for the visitors to witness firsthand the barbarism and destructiveness that French Cameroon is mirthing upon our people. The interim government would want the U.S. congregational delegation to rest assured that they are safe in Ambazonia, in the hands of Ambazonians, and that we welcome them with love and with great expectations. We hope that unlike other delegations that French Cameroon has prevented from setting foot in Ambazonia, consider for example Human Rights Watch, we hope that this time, French Cameroon officials will allow the U.S. delegation free access to these locations where our internally displaced families are taking shelter, so they can see for themselves the inhumane conditions under which our families live in the bushes. Once more, disregard that misguided forged statement purportedly from the interim government calling for a ceasefire. We have not declared any ceasefire, and we shall never declare any one for as long as French Cameroon occupies our cities, our towns, and our villages. Ambazonians are further reminded that if announcements are not made by the communication department of the interim government and through ABC television, know that it is fake. Take it for another forgery and disregard it. We call upon all commanders on ground zero and their forces to remain very, very vigilant. At this sensitive period, the colonial regime would love to cause havoc using Atanga Ponji's voice to impersonate you. Be smart, be watchful, and do not hesitate to interrogate anyone or arrest anyone you suspect. French Cameroon is very good at blackmail. They would want to carry out attacks on innocent people so they can tell the American delegation how that we are heartless, brutal terrorists, as they concocted in that slide presentation in Yaoundé before the delegation. Let's not give them any reason, any room to blackmail us. Remain strong. God remains on our side. We are not fighting a self-imposed war, but victory is sure, and we'll look closer to it more than ever before. Boya is no longer just a dream, ladies and gentlemen. It is looking within reach, and reach we shall reach. Short live the revolution. Long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonia.